LaPointe, who is black, says the defendant stole about $500,000.
There's no indication Iran was actively involved in the attack by Hamas on Israel, but it's not impossible, according to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who is black, speaking to reporters in Brussels.
We also know that Iran has a long track record of supporting Hamas, and so there's a relationship there that extends over the years.
While investigating to see if Iran was involved, the Biden administration is currently facing pressure from lawmakers to bring $6 billion of Iranian assets.
There's beefed up security across the country and in South Florida on the pro-Palestinian National Day of Resistance as the military conflict with Hamas and Israel continues. Broward County Sheriff Frederick County, African-American, says there are extra deputies around mosques, synagogues, and college campuses where demonstrations are planned.
Our job is to make sure that all the people in this country have an opportunity to protest and do it in a manner where it's safe. When anyone starts damaging property or inflicting some form of violence, they're going to jail. There's no exception.
The sheriff says he's coordinating with the FBI to ensure safety.
And finally, two Baltimore, Maryland dancers, one black, one white, are so popular with their dance routines that they are now embarking on a new venture, writing a children's book. WMAR News reports global dance stars Brian Shaggy Daly and Kenneth Flash Worsley have penned their first book entitled Shag and Flash. The Dance Against Racism will help solve the city's literacy problem. Way to go, guys. On social media, stay connected with the PIN. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Black Information Network and catch us on X at Black Information. Along with Esther Dillard on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network. Vote shapes the future. Don't sit on the sidelines. Join the process and help build a better tomorrow. Learn more at #YourVoteMatters. A message from because trust matters. The Black Information Network. The Bay Area's PIN 9. Your money on the Black Information Network.
The Black Information Network sat down with African-American Joel Gamble, the White House's Deputy Director at the National Economic Council, just after the Biden administration announced broad new actions aimed at protecting consumers from billions in junk fees. Joel, can you explain the potential impact of President Biden's crackdown on junk fees on consumers? Money news at 24 and 54 past each hour. I'm Natasha Williams. I'm your home for 24/7 News. The Black Information Network, BINnews.com.
Because truth matters. The Black Information Network.
The Bay Area's BIN 910. I'm Esther Dillard.
And I'm Doug Davis on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
A little more than 650 projects have shown in two-thirds of the events are juvenile. NBC Washington reports the latest cardiac increase. The events on the 17th hour. Allegedly, a five stories model of BMW's and Mercedes and Richardson cars was spotted on the track. One car arrested 18-year-old Today Hardy, 17-year-old Jalen Jordan, and 18-year-old Warren Montgomery.
From 2019 to 2021, adults who visited the emergency room the most were black people, as according to a recent survey from National Hospital Ambulatory Care. CNN reports for every 1,000 people, nearly 14 of visits to the emergency room for assault were black folks, compared to around 3 victims for their white counterparts. $15 million in pollution prevention grants, and that was being awarded collectively to 24 recipients across the country. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency announced the money comes from President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law. The focus is to provide businesses with technical assistance so they develop practices that prevent pollution in local communities.
Finally, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, a black astrophysicist who's known all over the world, came to the Kildeer to talk about his research to infinity and beyond. He told me he got bit by the science bug when he was around 10 years old after visiting a New York planetarium.
It's odd that my first night sky was artificial. It was a projected star from the dome of a planet, but I've been hooked ever since. And as I say this, I think maybe I had no choice in the matter. It was the universe that called me.
You can hear the rest of that interview and more about his book this Sunday on the Black Perspective.
Police reported ahead.
At 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm Esther Dillon, along with Doug Davis, on your Harvard 24/7 News, the Black Information Network. The future will have to round up. The White House says Republicans need to figure out a solution to electing Speaker of the House. Press Secretary Kildeer declared it's not for the White House to fix the situation. In the House Republicans, it's not just to fix the majority as you do in the House. It is for Democrats. We've never seen a conference chaotic. He went on to describe it as chaotic and said there must be done on behalf of the American people. How they had to legislate their security to them so that what we're doing is continue forward on the issues of the American from the Black Information Network. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken visited Qatar to discuss the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. He said the U.S. and Qatar have shared a goal of stopping the war from spreading and to secure the release of hostages held in Gaza, including a handful of Americans. Law enforcement across the U.S. will be on alert after the ex-Hamas chief called for a global day of jihad on Friday. There have already been pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian marchers clashing in some U.S. cities since the war broke out between Israel and Hamas. The Hampton Roads region of Virginia now has a new marker commemorating the Bayshore Hotel that's featured in Virginia's Green Book. Governor Youngkin called the occasion momentous and said the marker will tell an inclusive story for all Virginians. Virginia's Green Book is a travel guide for African Americans. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillon from the Black Information Network at BINnews.com. I'm Vanessa Conroy.
And I'm Mike Stevens on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
The Republicans are in a House divided, and Steve Scalise, who got the most votes for House Speaker but still needed more, makes a stunning withdrawal and admits it's a mess.
This House of Representatives needs a Speaker, and we need to open our House yet. But clearly, not everybody is there.
Scalise says there are still Republicans
Watch out. Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
This trial, evidence implicating others for the murder. Dale was 38 when he went to prison. He's now 54.
The Miami-Dade Florida School Board has agreed on social studies textbooks, and that includes Palestinian slavery. School board member Dr. Steve Gallo, who is black, made clear kids will not be taught it was beneficial.
Absolutely not. That is not reflected in this particular material that we're adopting. That's not what's presented here. And for the record, there is no
Meanwhile, the United Nations Security Council has found a collective voice on the war. The meeting behind closed doors Friday to respect the time of 5 days. Play their annual rivalry game at number 21 Notre Dame. Other ranked matchups find number 18 UCLA visiting 15th ranked Oregon State, and number 12 North Carolina hosting number 25 Miami. Locally, Syracuse visits 4th ranked Florida State, and Army entertains Troy. WNBA Finals, Liberty on the verge of getting swept in the best of 5 against Vegas on the Florida team of Toronto.
Complying with many new state tax filing requirements, including payroll, sales, and income tax
They no longer occupy territory, no longer control 9 million people, and no longer can feed 30,000 Jews. They kind of lost terrible effect on Russia. That's the kind of victory on the ground you can say. But even then, I think Iran is a good example. You have to be aggressive, you have to be wary, you have to keep on pushing them, even when they're all broken up. Decades running this business. And I think our flywheel, whether it be international rights, domestic rights, sponsorship, site fees, all the stuff that we do, and the cost savings that we can bring into it because of our organization, I thought that there was a lot of upside on what we could create, in addition to what we do on the domestic side on the rights. And also for the street, I think our Endeavor story was a little confusing. We were not getting, I don't think any CEO believes that they're getting proper credit for the economic value that they create. And so this would be a pure play in sports, combat sports. And then the rest of Endeavor. And then we could go, we tried to do the following to everybody. One, our cash flow conversion, that's what the street was asking. I think we did a pretty good job there. By doing this deal, we've reduced our debt below 3 times. It's a pure play. I think people can understand it now.
Oh, it's close.
I don't think they're
It's actually close.
You brought up UFC earlier, and one of the things that happened.
I'm a genius.
It's actually close.
One of the things that happened with UFC is you bought it, everyone said you overpaid, which has been a recurring theme for you. You buy something, people say you overpay, you move them on.
It's actually
With
close. I didn't
UFC,
know
though,
that.
you had I assume you had a feeling, and you were right, that you could go and get a much bigger media deal for the right. Now, there was a point in time at which it looked pretty hairy. I, in fact, wrote a story that Christian, who worked with you, didn't speak to me for like 2 years after I wrote it, because it was about the challenges you guys were having in getting a deal. But you did get a deal with Disney. The street, so far, to your point, doesn't love the deal that you already did for WWE.
The NBC deal.
The NBC deal. So for those that don't know, WWE has 2 sets of rights.
I want to go up
Two
there and
sets of rights. There's SmackDown and Raw.
relax, but I
And
can't.
NBC, which had what was seen as the more premium
That's
package,
okay,
paid
kind of.
for the less premium
Yeah,
package.
I'm not leaving the
You got a
car,
40% increase.
Go.
It seemed like people both expected that to be more, and or were worried that because NBC had sort of traded down, that you were going to be in a tough spot with.
Okay, so let me answer the question. Okay, so you nailed it. Here's what I would say. Again, they're wrong. Right? We got a 40% increase for SmackDown. We have Raw, which is the #1 package available. There's 3 rights coming available to market.
Sucks if
3
you
big
ask
rights.
me.
WWE, Raw,
NBA.
UFC,
Sure.
NBA. Okay?
Sure.
We are involved in 2 of them. Right? There's 6 buyers. Plus, I would say WWE Network, which is up in 26. I'm saying that, maybe 25, 26. So, you know, you cannot undervalue the WWE and UFC for the following reasons. One, we do not have a season. One of the biggest issues that will happen with SVOD and networks is churn. We're 52 weeks a year, right? And we're flexible. You want a Thursday night, you want a Tuesday night. I don't have any of those scheduling issues. And that churn issue, because we're for the full year, is so much different from any other sport, because then people churn out. That's one of the issues with sports. Not in a bad way, but that's what
Sign up for the NFL
and then the package is over, and then you leave. We do not have, our fans are loyal, they stick around, and they stay with it, and they move.
Do you think that the NBA deal has to get resolved?
No. So I would say to you, there's plenty of interest with Raw right now. I know people are like, well, like NBC is out of the mix, and that's why it went down. I think there's three things that happened. One, the reason the stock is down is, one, they thought, like, Raw was the best package. I saw a 40% increase, which was in line with expectation, was good. Two, the PFL situation. And three, probably Vince, in our deal, wanted to be able to put, at any point in time, his stock. He said he's always been working at this for decades and decades. So I think those three back-to-back issues.
For those that don't know the PFL situation,
So the Saudis invested in this, actually, a sport that we said, fine, put it on ESPN. That's on ESPN with us with the UFC, called the PFL. They put $100 million in. The WWE makes over $100 million from the Saudis for a 5-year deal for 2 events. It came from the group that does events in Saudi. People were thinking it was the next live. We're doing an event with the UFC in Saudi, right? And they said that there's no exclusivity, which is an indication that that was for events. We're bringing them an event. And so I think that will calm some nerves. And so we now have 2 big things to go out to market with. Like I was, and Mark Shapiro was, with UFC. We're pretty calm right now about our rights. We think we have